Last night in our ladies recharge class, we were talking a lot about food because we are all foodies and lovers of food, and we all have a different relationship with our food. And the thing I want to highlight today is I threw it out there into the class, and I mentioned that Asda, Tesco, most of the supermarkets are now selling the big tubs of Quality Street, Heroes, Roses, Celebrations for £4 instead of £5. And if you know that you're going to be buying these things at Christmas time when they're probably going to be like £7 or £8, it's probably worth buying them now rather than later on if you want to save a bit of money. And everyone seemed mildly horrified that I would be firstly recommending buying big tubs of chocolates, and then secondarily they were horrified at their own kind of feelings around the food and how it made them feel to consider being faced with that. And my goal as your coach, but also my goal as an ex-binge eater, someone who has relied on food, someone who has depended on food, someone who has shrouded herself in food rather than dealing with my emotions, my ultimate goal for myself and also for you guys is to make sure that no matter what you are faced with, you don't use food to quash down your emotions. You don't use food to reward yourself. You don't use food to punish yourself. You don't get in and go immediately to the cupboard when you've had a bad day. So my goal is to get you to a point where you deal with your emotions in a healthy way, to strengthen your mindset, to build your confidence, so that the choices that you make are positively fantastic for your health and your well-being, and they don't revolve around food and using food as a crutch to handle or manage how you feel emotionally. So one of my long-term goals for myself has been to get through Christmas and to get through Easter without overdoing it on the chocolate. So the reason that I buy these things is because firstly they're enjoyable. What we're doing here together, you and I, we're not just doing restriction. We're not just banning things. We're not just eliminating things for no reason. Yes, of course, I admit, I realise that tubs of Quality Street have little to no nutritional value. I do nutrition as my job. I know these things, so don't worry about that. But these things are enjoyable to have. They're enjoyable to share with your family, and it's a big part of Christmas. These tubs of chocolates, or anything else like a tray of mince pies or anything like that. These are things that we culturally and socially like to participate in. So if we want to have a healthy approach to our lifestyles, if we want to feel like we're not restricted and feel like we're not missing out on things that everyone else is doing around Christmas, but still maintain the healthy weight loss and weight maintenance and health and energy results that we really want to have going on in the background, then we need to strike that personal balance. And I will go on and on and on about this until I die. I will go on and on about this until I die, because balance is something that you have to create for yourself, okay? So each individual person will have a different balance. There are some people in the world, and I don't know who these people are, I hate these people, that can eat dessert every day and they never gain a pound. Their insides might not necessarily be as healthy as someone else's, but they will never gain weight when they eat pudding. And that is their metabolism. That's their own individual metabolism working for them. Some people can eat dessert once a week and still gain weight, okay? So we all have our own individual line where our metabolism, our digestion, our hormones kind of draw that line for us. And we have to firstly discover these things, pay attention, log our food, log our symptoms, make sure we pay attention to when we have cravings, when we don't have cravings, how food makes us feel. This is why I encourage you to do all these things, these food diaries and things, because if we don't understand these connections, then we've got no hope really of making smart food choices that make our bodies feel good. Okay, so if you're stuck in a rut with this right now, if you don't know what to do, if you feel a bit lost, if you feel like you've fallen off the wagon slightly, then do a food diary, make it in as much detail as you possibly can. I want food portion sizes. I want what the food is. I want how it made you feel. I want the time that you ate it. I want you to invest the time in making that connection between the food that you eat, the choices that you're making, and the results that you are getting, the results in your energy, in your well-being, in your mood, in your weight loss. Okay, so it's that accountability factor. If we can understand that connection better, we're moving you toward a place where you have a more logical, more kind of pragmatic approach to food rather than a reliance from an emotional point of view. Okay, if you know that you are still emotionally leaning toward things, and really the way to recognize this is if you ever crave food when you're not hungry, that's a typical way to recognize that you're kind of a habitual emotional eating going on. And also if you know that you are actually sad or angry or happy or irritated or frustrated, and that you kind of automatically reach for something like a biscuit, some crisps, some ice cream, whatever it is that you have as your own personal vice. So my goal here is to move you away from doing that, is to unpick those habits, is to undo all of that. You might have been doing this for 20 or 30 years. You might have been building these habits for a long time. And that's nothing that you've done wrong. That's just you've learned to cope with life, with the things in your life, by using food as a bit of a crutch. We all do this. We all have different crutches. Some people eat, some people drink, some people use Netflix, some people do online shopping, some people do real life shopping, some people use drugs. We all have our own methods of sedation to kind of manage how we feel. But if we continue doing this reliance, this dependency, then it will just create that kind of the strength of that connection. And that's not what we want. We don't want that. We want to separate ourselves from our emotions. We want to identify the emotion, feel the emotion, but choose to do something else in response to that emotion, other than eating, other than drinking, other than using it just to kind of sedate how we feel. We want to identify, feel, and then choose a different path. And this is like learning any new skill, creating any new habit. It will feel juddery and difficult at first. It will feel, uncomfortable. It will feel weird. But it's because you are consciously going against what you've trained your body to do. Over the time you've felt sad, you've gone to the cupboard and got biscuits. That is the habit. That is the process that you have trained into your mind. So we need to train it to do something else. So we're kind of breaking that first habit and creating a new habit. You feel sad, you talk to someone. You feel sad, you go for a walk. You feel sad, you write in your journal. You've got to work out what the next step is for you in terms of creating that new habit, okay? And it will feel hard, it will feel weird, it will feel like you're resistant to it, because you have learned that when you eat food, it makes you feel better. So by choosing not to eat food, your brain is going, but this food makes us feel good. This food makes us feel better. Why aren't you doing that? And your brain will drive you toward the thing that you have learned makes you feel better in those times that you feel sad or mad or bad or angry or irritated or frustrated. So your brain will be against you in the beginning, but in the formation of this new habit, of this new kind of mental process, you have to overcome that. You have to be strong enough to say, no, I am not going to the biscuit tin, I'm not going to the chocolate cupboard, I am going to go out for a walk, distract myself, allow my feelings to be felt, and then come back, and hopefully in that kind of distraction phase, in that kind of turning around of your emotions, the walk or the dance or the journal or the music or whatever it is that you choose to do in response to your emotions, hopefully something that is positive, and hopefully something that isn't revolving around food or something else to sedate your emotions. If you can strengthen that new habit every time that you get to that emotion that triggers you off into reaching for the cupboard, every time you get to that emotion, you create a new pathway, a new mental pathway from trigger to action, okay? You get to choose what the action is. We all respond differently to different things, you know. Some of the most powerful things that you can use to kind of flip your emotions around are exercise and music. You know, if you know that when you feel sad, you typically eat, then, you know, play your favorite song, or go out walking and play your favorite song, dance around the kitchen, do anything to kind of change your physical state and distract yourself from the process that you have previously learnt, which is not serving your health and your well-being, okay? So going back to the title of the video, that is my goal. I will never, never, never ask you or encourage you to give up things that you enjoy, to restrict things heavily, to not participate socially in Christmas or Easter or birthday cake or anything like that, because I value those things. I value your social health. I value your kind of emotional connection with your family, your social life. And ultimately what I want for you is freedom from the emotional shackles that you have related to food. So it's not about heavy restriction for restriction's sake. It's about working out where you draw your line, where your body draws its line, where your hormones draw its line, so that you can still get the results that you want to see, but you don't sacrifice all the things that are important to you in the process, okay? So it's a dance to begin with. You know, you have to try things out, you have to trial things, you have to work it out, do little self-studies, you have to be prepared to spend the time, invest the time in yourself, in looking into how your body responds to certain things. But when you do that, you get the information you need, you get the science that you need to make the best choices. And then as you build your confidence, as you be more consistent day on day on day, you start to create these new habits that serve you for the long term in health, fitness and well-being, okay? So please commit yourself to becoming more confident with your choices. If you fear food, and I saw a couple of looks of fear on the faces of my class last night when I mentioned Quality Street, when I mentioned celebrations, when I mentioned Miniature Heroes, I saw the kind of look of fear and worry of, I can't control myself around these things, and that's not a place where we want to be. That just shows us that we've got a little bit more work to do on your confidence, on the choices that you want to make day on day in your health and well-being, okay? So if you know that you've got a bit of a fear factor about all the Christmas foods or the Easter foods, or if you've got a fear factor about going to weddings or birthdays or parties, if you are worried or anxious about the choices that you're going to make there is still work to do. Please come and talk to me. Please share with me your feelings and your fears and your worries, and we will start the process of working out how to move you from that fear into the more unknown space, but the space of freedom, where you can break that kind of emotional action connection and create new habits, new connections, new pathways from brain to action to get the results for you and your health, okay? Any questions, please post them down below or send them to me individually. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next live coaching video.